contribution of illegal fishing to the decline in the winter flounder population, as presented by myself, George Magagnoli. Currently on Long Island, many fish species are at low points in their populations, and this is due to various reasons such as overfishing, global warming, and disease. And these decreases are having many effects on the environment and the food chains in which are in the ocean. So this is a winter flounder. A winter flounder is a fish species that lives on the ocean floor. It's a flatfish and spends most of its time camouflaged in order to hide from predators and to hunt prey. So the winter flounder population was once very large on Long Island in the 1980s, and it began its major decrease in 1993 and has exponentially decreased since then. And this decrease has been linked to overfishing due to the fact that these fish have not had any known diseases affect their population and are not affected by global warming as much as other fish species. And these overfishing makes the most sense because of the fact that these fish are susceptible to it. Winter flounder are known to inbreed, so their immune systems are not as strong because of the fact that they're genetically not as proficient as other species and other populations that don't inbreed. So overfishing would affect them and make them more susceptible to diseases that are not as big. So even just common diseases can have major effects on them because of the fact that their immune systems are weaker. So as you can see here, the commercial landings per stock unit have decreased since the late 1980s into the 1990s, and it's about 1/20th of what it was during that time period. So currently there are strict regulations on winter flounder fishing, so they are not as well caught today as other species are. So the DEC limits each boat to 2 fish over 12 inches, and this is a strict limitation compared to other fish species. And their season is only from April 1st to May 30th, which is a really short season because, for example, the summer flounder, which is their close genetic relative, has a season of 4 months because their population is much greater than the winter flounder. So illegal fishing could be a cause in the winter flounder population because of the fact that they are so regulated that many fishermen may be ignoring the limitations, or it could be outside sources that are fishing in New York State waters. And illegal fishing is fishing done without a license or fishing that breaks regulations. So New York State requires that each boating vessel and individual fishermen have their own licenses that they need to apply for. And illegal fishing can be done on a domestic or commercial level, and the main focus is a commercial level because of the fact that commercial fishermen take so much more fish than domestic ones, as a commercial fisherman really doesn't have set limitations for winter flounder because of the fact that it's their livelihood and they produce for much of the population that eats fish in New York State. So the main question is illegal fishing occurring, and how much is it affecting the winter flounder population? So at first I will confirm if overfishing is occurring, and then go further to analyze my results if illegal fishing is occurring. So databases provided by New York State are the most helpful resources for me because of the fact that they are state-funded experiments that record population statistics year by year, and they also provide the amount of people fishing for them year by year. So I will formulate a conclusion using these statistics because of the fact that winter flounder populations aren't quantifiable. I'll look for a correlation between these statistics, and this correlation will lead me to determine how much overfishing is occurring and if illegal fishing is occurring. So the first data that will be collected are fishing licenses sold in New York State, and this is the fishing licenses given to each individual fisherman. These fishing licenses will determine how much overfishing is occurring because of the fact that if there's a large amount of fishing licenses, and this number is increasing. And then if the winter flounder population is decreasing at the same time, it proves that there is a direct effect between the two variables. And the amount of registered boats in New York State will also have the same effect. And these boats are just all boats that are registered, because all boats are capable of fishing for winter flounder in New York State, because they are not a deep water fish. They can be caught by the coast or even off of docks. And I will also analyze the population numbers regarding winter flounder, again, to see if there's correlation between the registered boats and fishing licenses. So the total license holders in New York State as of last year were 751,000, and this number is pretty high for what was in previous years. Used to be around 500,000, and at the same time the winter flounder population has been decreasing with the amount of fishermen that have been going for the flounder. So there is an inverse relationship between the two, and there were about almost 200,000 boats registered on Long Island in last year, and this number doesn't really have as much of a correlation with the winter flounder populations, because this is not a low or high number for these for the amount of boats registered. And the amount of boats registered has really been sporadic throughout the year, as this factor could have been affected by boat prices or boat manufacturing, and there's no correlation between the winter flounder population and the amount of boats registered. So overfishing is occurring in New York State because there's a high amount of people fishing, but it's not illegal overfishing because of the fact that there are a lot of registered fishermen. So the limitations to this theory are global warming, because there is this possibility that global warming could be causing the fish to migrate to a different part of waters, and illegal fishing is still a limitation to this conclusion because of the fact that it's not quantifiable and it still could be occurring along with overfishing. So the implications are that stronger limitations are needed on these fish because their population cannot compete with what is going on today with the amount of people fishing for them and the potential competition that they have. And there also is a need for stronger commercial fishing limitations because these fishermen cannot take them in the same amount that they are and expect these species to survive. And winter flounder populations are extremely important to the ecosystem because of the fact that they have major effects on their prey, as long as provide a food source for their predators.
Okay, thank you, George.
How did you evaluate the sources you collected to make sure they would be credible, and which sources did you discard and why?
So I mainly stuck to databases because of the fact that they're credible and provided by the state. So they're done using extensive research of the waters, and I really tried to discard articles about fish populations because of the fact that they're so opinionated and will turn facts to look like, will change facts to make them look more one-sided towards their point of view.
Thanks.
What might be the real-world implications or consequences, like influence on others' behaviors, decision-making processes, or discoveries that are related to your findings?
So my findings will make fishermen be more wary, hopefully, of whether or not they want to take as many winter flounder as they are from the waters, and that they shouldn't be taking the fish that are too small, so these fish have the opportunity to reproduce and succeed.
If you had 3 more months to work on this project, what additional research strategies would you put into practice?
So if I had more time to work on this project, I would try to get more research into what commercial fishermen are doing by using their quotas that they're trying to meet and seeing what they are meeting and if they are taking more than they should be.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, George.
Thank you.